let's talk about accelerated learning. Now, hopefully, many of the patterns that you're seeing are looking familiar. They're looking like shades of other patterns. And that's really what NLP is. And you may remember in the basic program, in the practitioner program, before this program, I taught you that you can begin to create your own NLP techniques, and we'd like to see them. We'd like to hear about them in the world of NLP because we'd like to try them out. We'd like to, when I say try them out, you know what I mean. We'd like to experiment with them. We'd like to have volunteers come up in audiences and see how they work. We'd like to have friends exposed to them, if you will, and just see how your techniques do. So I want you to start getting comfortable with the idea that many NLP techniques are created as a result of other NLP techniques. Someone created something, someone else says, wait a minute, I can do this a little bit differently, and I can add this and add that, and here we have a new technique. Well, I invite you to create your own techniques. So I'm bringing this up now because as I talk about the accelerated learning technique that I'm about to share with you, you're going to realize that it sounds familiar. It sounds like some of the other techniques I've talked about and uses many of the same principles, but in a slightly different way and for a slightly different purpose. So get used to seeing that. Get used to seeing techniques come up in different forms and have a slight twist to them, so they're used for a different purpose. And the accelerated learning technique is no exception because it is borrowed from other NLP techniques. So let's take a look at how this works. Let's say, for example, that we have a student. And as you know, as a doctoral level person in education, I am very interested in education and how can I facilitate the learning process for as many people as possible. NLP offers some very efficient and very effective ways to do this. Unfortunately, sometimes you come up against barriers in the educational system, people not wanting to use NLP or not wanting their children to go through NLP or anything that sounds like it may be hypnosis or something that's not coming down from the official standard from the school and so forth. But these processes, these techniques are very powerful. So one of the things that I'm adamant about is getting this information into the schools where people who really need it can get it, because what we find out as therapists is that we work with people years down the road who weren't exposed to these techniques and didn't really learn math, for example, as we're looking at in this example, or learn whatever it is they were sent to school to learn. In fact, all they really learned was that they didn't like math or didn't like this or didn't like that, and that can be fine because that can help them find out what they do want. But what if there's really a math genius inside of them and it's just a matter of them getting turned on by math and really tuning in to math? What if it's a matter of that? Then we can say the educational system has failed that student, has failed to live up to that student's needs and what that student really went there for in the first place. So I'd like to eliminate that, and one of the ways to do that is by introducing NLP techniques such as this one into the school system. But that may be a little bit down the road. Let's take a look at this now, because you can use this on yourself and or your clients or children or loved ones. The accelerated learning technique is designed to take a topic that someone is good at, something that are proficient at, and let's say in this case we're talking about the bottom example, learning geography. We have learning geography there with a black dot, and that corresponds to the arm. Now it's just the location that we're going to touch them is the arm. Remember, it can be any two spots on the body as long as it's appropriate, it doesn't matter. But in this case, learning geography has a black dot, and it also corresponds to the black dot on the grid. I'll get to that in a moment. But learning geography happens here. Learning math happens higher on the arm, okay? And that has a white dot, which corresponds to the white dot on the grid. Okay, so those are our two anchors. We're going to install anchors. And the way we get the information in the first place is to just ask them, what do you enjoy learning? What are you good at learning? What do you really, excel at? What do you do well at in school? Tell me something that you really enjoy and you do well at. And if they say geography, they could say any number of subjects, but I've just chosen geography here. Okay, the student does well in geography, so we're going to anchor that. Okay, so think about doing a great job in geography and feeling good about yourself and wonderful about the job you do in geography and getting A's and so forth. And I'm touching there, I'm anchoring, and I'm having them think about it. Okay. And then I get them to talk about something that they're not so good at, which is, I chose a stereotypical one, which is learning math, because very commonly students aren't very good at math. And I was one of those students. I was not very good at math. I wasn't very bad at math either. I just wasn't really interested in it, so I didn't apply myself that well in math. So let's take math as an example. Okay. So then we're talking about math. We're anchoring that. Well, how do you feel about math? Think about math. Okay, math. We're anchoring math. Okay, so you know how to install anchors. I don't have to review all of that, but you're anchoring math there, and you've got geography here. Okay, you've got your two anchors. Now, what you want to do is have them represent in three-dimensional space where this happens. Where is math and where is geography? Now I have a two-dimensional drawing. I have width and I have height, but realize you can have this distance as well, because they can show you in 3 dimensions where it is. The circle in the middle is designed to represent their head, just so you can get a point of reference. So this person is saying that learning math is up here. That's where learning math is. Okay? And they're saying that learning geography is down here. Okay, so we've got them here and here. Now this is all happening in their minds. They're just imagining the grid in their minds. They can point to where they are, just so they can make it more clear for themselves. But the next part that they're going to do, they imagine in their minds. So you want to allow them to give math and geography in their minds, in their locations, color, sound, so forth, involve all of the senses. So create the VAKOG, or elicit that from them, from the client. And now you have one for each. Okay? All right. What do we want to do with this? Well, we want to make math like geography. We want to make math easy like geography. We want to make math fun and exciting, and whatever geography is, that's what we want to make math into. So math up here in their minds is going to move to the geography location down here. As it does, you may remember this from other exercises, as it does, it's going to take on the attributes of geography. It's not going to become geography. It's not going to turn into geography, but it's going to take on the color, the sound, etc. of geography. So as they're doing that in their minds, you have them do that in their mind. As you're doing that, you're touching, using both of your hands, you're touching math and geography at the same time. You're touching them at the same time using both of your hands. You're putting your hands on both of them at the same time now, firing them both off at the same time to connect them. Okay, and that's all you do when we talk about accelerated learning, making one just like the other, using this very straightforward NLP technique.